Okay, well, it is July 27th, 2025. This is Michael Schratt reporting from Rio Rancho, New Mexico. We are in a beautiful park here. I'm really shocked at how nice this is. Really quiet here. I have invited a special guest to join me today. It's my good friend Norio Hayakawa. He's been my friend for well over 20 years. And I'm just so impressed by this gentleman. I can't get over it. He's the most humble, kind, gentle-hearted person you can ever imagine. I'm just shocked. I'm overwhelmed by how nice this guy is. So I thought, why don't we get together and do an interview? And I want to learn more about Norio. Who is Norio? What is going on in his brain? How did he get to where he is? So Norio, why don't you come in and join me here? Norio, it's good to see you.
Thank you so much, Michael, for having me as your guest.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You know, I thought since we've known each other for so long, it's important that I do an interview with you. I really think it's
important. Thank you so much.
You know? And I don't know if we want to check to make sure that this is running okay, but you know, I think it's running okay. I've got a couple questions for you, Norio. Norio, please tell me a little bit about your background and how your parents instilled in you such wonderful family values.
Well, that's a very good question because, you know, first of all, I'm just a regular guy. I'm just an ordinary, you know, regular person that was privileged to grow up in a place where you know, I learned about a lot of things, and basically my parents had tremendous impact on my life. And you know, I was born and grew up in Yokohama, Japan. In fact, I'm an old guy. I was born in 1944. That makes me you know, more than 80 years old, but I'm still alive and kicking. And but anyway, what changed my life when I was growing up is the fact that my father used to tell me of his amazing sighting of a strange greenish ball of fire slowly maneuvering one evening in 1947 in the Bay of Yokohama while he was fishing, night fishing, around 2:30 in the morning in the Bay of Yokohama, and suddenly he sees this amazing greenish ball of fire streaking over the bay as if it was controlled by some kind of mechanism. And never in his life had he seen such an astronomical event, because he was an expert in astronomy, because he used to do night fishing practically every night, which infuriated my mother. But
Norio, was it making turns?
It wasn't making any turns, but it was slowly maneuvering over the bay, and he had never seen anything like this. And coincidentally, it was the summer of 1947, the year in which many things happened as far as sightings of strange objects. You know, and so anyway, I grew up in that kind of an environment, and my mother initially was very skeptical of his claims, but when I was growing up, he used to tell us, me and my sister, at the dinner table. And so that's the whole beginning of my many years of UFO research.
In fact, you were hearing this?
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
And so when I was in high school in 1961 in Yokohama, Japan, I thought of many things, and I started seriously getting interested in finding the truth about this so-called flying saucer phenomenon. The term at that time in the 1950s, when I was growing up, the term was flying saucers and not UFOs, because UFOs is a term that was invented by the Air Force in the late 1950s. So before that time, everybody talked about flying saucers. And so anyway, when I was in high school, I started seriously getting into this subject matter, and that was in 1961. So even now, this has impacted my life. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, I still don't know the answer
Right.
to this amazing phenomenon, but I know it's a real phenomenon. The only thing is that I really still don't know what exactly this phenomenon is.
Yeah, that's exactly correct. That's exactly. Okay. What is it, Norio, about New Mexico that drew you here to this state?
Well, I live in New Mexico, as you know.
Uh-huh.
We're right now in the city of Rio Rancho, which is a neighboring city to Albuquerque. And I used to live here in Rio Rancho, but in 2021 I moved to Albuquerque, which is right next door.
Yeah.
But anyway, the reason I was fascinated about this state called New Mexico is because in 1964, I had no idea where New Mexico was.
Huh.
But when I was in a college in Tokyo, Japan, one day, that was in 1964, okay, I was in a student lounge reading an English language newspaper, and I noticed that there was a small headline in the middle of this page, and it said, "Officer sees saucer sitting on sand," and
Oh,
it was
wow.
from AP Wires, and
Wow.
the place was Socorro, New Mexico, which I never heard in my life.
Okay.
And this was a fascinating news item about a patrol officer, Loni Zamora, who on April 24th, 1964, witnessed a silver metallic oval-shaped object about 300 feet in front of him, right in the middle of the desert. And that was on April 24th, 1964. And how it came about was that on that day, around 2 or 3 in the afternoon, he was just patrolling around Socorro, New Mexico, and suddenly he hears this huge explosion in the desert, and he started, you know, he stopped chasing a high-speeding car at that time.
Uh-huh.
And he became curious, and he went towards the desert, and lo and behold, there was this oval-shaped, whitish, metallic object on a tripod, just sitting there about 300 feet in front of him, and he was shocked. And so this is the famous Loni Zamora Socorro incident, which is one of the most researched, one of the most credible UFO sightings in the United States history. So I became interested in the state of New Mexico, which I never heard of before until then. And so, you know, coincidentally, the following year in 1965, I, believe it or not, I got a scholarship at a college in Albuquerque, 1965.
Uh-huh.
And so it was in 1965 that I came to this amazing state of New Mexico, which is called the Land of Enchantment. And as far as I'm concerned, it is literally the land of enchantment in so many ways. And so this is what I think about New Mexico, and I will never regret having come to this amazing state of New Mexico in 1965. And this is where I live, and this is where I will die.
Okay, okay. Norio, please discuss your love of country music and how you write your own songs.
Well, until I came to Albuquerque, New Mexico, I had no interest in country western music. Because, you know, when I was in Japan in high school, it wasn't my thing. I was into rock and roll, like Jerry Lee Lewis and all these guys, you know, playing rock and roll music. But when I first came to Albuquerque, I heard this beautiful sound in the radio while taking a taxi cab to the college.
Oh, really? Okay.
And from the radio came out this beautiful New Mexico style music, and also country western music. And so anyway, while I was riding in a taxi cab going towards the college in West Mesa, I heard a song, couple of songs by Buck Owens, and so I fell in love with the country western music and also the local New Mexico style music.
Okay, okay, great, great. Okay, please discuss your time in Los Angeles and what research you were working on.
Well, I moved to Los Angeles in 1982, and I was looking for a job. And one day I went to this employment agency, and the employment agency said there is a work or job in this particular town of Los Angeles, in this particular area called the Little Tokyo area in Los Angeles. And so I went to that place, and Lord behold, I was surprised. It was a funeral home. And they needed somebody to stay overnight every night and answer the phones alone. So what the heck, you know, I needed a place to stay, so I got that job. And so every night my job was to answer the phone alone and staying alone on the second floor of this mortuary. Okay. And of course the first floor there was this morgue, and there were at least 26 people sleeping, you know, boy. And so it was very quiet.
Wasn't quite what you expected, huh?
Nobody bothered me at all.
Nobody bothered you.
That's right. But what happened was in 1982, while I was in a morgue, I heard a radio station from Las Vegas that I caught in Los Angeles. And in this radio station, this was a talk show, radio talk show, and almost every night, and this was in 1989, almost every night there was this guest named Bob Lazar, who claimed to be a scientist who was working on reverse engineering of a strange craft that was supposedly transferred from Wright-Patterson Air Force Base in the mid-1950s to Nevada's location now known as Area 51. And so I was fascinated by this story, and you know, I wrote to a Japanese magazine, and the Japanese magazine said, this is very interesting, so we would like to send a reporter. And along with the reporter, they sent a team of a television crew from a Nippon TV network. And so in 1990, the following year, they came, and somehow I got in touch with a person who showed us how to get to Bob Lazar's home in Las Vegas. So on February the 21st, Wednesday of 1990, and it was on Wednesday because Wednesday was kind of significant, because on Wednesdays were the days or nights where Bob Lazar said there was testing going on about this strange craft at this place called Area 51. Actually, yeah. And so we went there, and Bob Lazar didn't want to come with us then, but the TV crew and I went to the exact spot where Bob Lazar said we should set up a camera. So on February the 21st, right after sundown, we set up the camera at that Highway 375. There was a black mailbox, and this highway was a lonely highway. We hardly saw any cars for at least an hour. And so immediately after sundown, we saw some strange lights started hovering above the Groom Mountains in the distance, because you can't see Area 51 on the ground because it's covered by the Groom Mountains. But Lord behold, exactly as Mr. Lazar said, after sundown there was a strange yellowish, orangish light coming out from the mountain, and to me it appeared that they were doing some weird maneuvering. And so that was the beginning of my whole future interest in this location called Area 51. But over the years, yes, I've been to that location many times. But you know, I came to the conclusion that initially I thought this was some kind of an alien technology, but over the years, as I went there many times, I began to realize that this was not an alien technology, but probably good old American technology. And so that's how I came to understand the significance of Area 51, which is, even right now, the leading edge military research, development, and testing complex of America. You know, it's right now, it became a not so secret, top secret base.
That's right, that's right. Okay, switch gears quickly here. Please comment on the reports from the Roman army during 100 BC who reported seeing flying shields.
Well, that's a good question, because you know, this strange phenomenon called the UFO phenomenon seems to have existed since time immemorial.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at historical records, there are many indications that people have seen or have seen some strange things in the sky, and this was from time immemorial. And the Roman, the shield incident, yeah, it's an expression that at that time, that was the only expression, a shield, you know, because it's like round shaped, and you know, so anyway, there's no question that we still don't know what this phenomenon is, but it has existed since time immemorial. So my thing is that I think that the UFO phenomenon is real, no question about it, and it has existed since time immemorial. And the second question, the second possibility is that the government has been interested in the propulsion systems of these things, and they try to, you know, emulate some of these technologies, and so that's where I think we stand right now. You know, that's my personal opinion.
Norio, any thoughts on the mystery airship wave of 1897?
1897, yeah, people started seeing strange airships through a lot of places in the Midwest and so on, and at that time there were no such things, but people saw them, and you know, it's just something that is still unsolved, but it's possible that these entities try to simulate and acclimate the observers to the fact that there were such things. And so, yeah, the real airships came later, but you know, even before, there were a lot of sightings of airships. And you know, also very strange thing is that in the 1980s, early 19